Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. This is just a compilation video of all the videos in the series called Responsive Hero Section for your Blogger website. I think including all the videos in this single long video can be easier for you to follow along. And all the individual videos are still up there on this channel, so if you want to watch them, you can watch them as well. I will leave the link of the playlist in the description below. Also, the link of the source code of the design will be in the description of the video, so let's get started. In this video, we will start designing a hero section for our Blogger website. In the first couple of videos, we will design everything from scratch using HTML and CSS. And this is the design that we're going to make. And we'll also add some animations to this so that when the page is loaded, all these elements animate in. And then finally, we will add this design to our Blogger website. So we will replace the current header that we have for our Blogger website. And we will add this header instead of that. And this is also responsive, so this is the mobile version that we're going to design for this hero section. Alright, so here I'm using this code editor called VS Code. So all the code will be written in this code editor. And I have created an empty project called Responsive Hero Section. And in that I have a folder called IMG. And in that we have these images which we'll be using for our design. So these are all the images. And I'll provide all these images for you to follow along. So let's start by creating the necessary files. First of all, we'll create an index.html file. So it should be outside the IMG folder. So let's drag it out. Alright, now let's create one more file and we'll name it style.css. So let's start with the index.html file. In VS Code, we have this shortcut where you can just type exclamation and press tab. And you'll get this basic HTML file code. And after that, we'll just type link and press tab, and we will link our CSS file over here. So we'll just type style.css, and in the body we'll start with the markup. First of all, we'll create a header element. So we'll type header, and we'll also give it a class called main header. So this header element will contain everything that we see over here, and in that, first of all, we will have the navigation menu. So for that, we'll just create a nav element and we'll give it a class of main nav. And in that, we'll create unordered list and we'll type li for the list items and anchor tags. And the first one is home. Then we have about, logo, features and downloads. So let me just copy this from here and we'll just paste it 4 more times. So the second one is about. Now the third one is the logo. So if we go over here to the IMG, we can see that we have this logo called logo.png. So let's add that over here. So instead of home, we will type IMG, and in the source we will type img/logo.png. And then we have features and downloads. So I'll just type them over here. Alright, that's it with the navigation menu. Now let's open this in our browser and see how it looks. So I have this extension called Live Server installed on VS Code. So this is the extension right here. You can just search for Live Server and install that. After that, you can just right click over here in the HTML file and just click on Open with Live Server. And we can see that our navigation menu is being displayed over here. We don't have any styling because we haven't added any CSS yet. First of all, we'll complete all the HTML and then we'll move on to the CSS. So now the next thing we need to do is add the left part of our hero section, which is this heading, this text and this button. So let's create a division for that. So after the navigation menu, we'll create a division with a class of hero container. And inside hero container, we will have 2 divisions with classes of hero left and hero right. So hero left will contain all this content and the hero right will contain this image and this search box. So let's type hero left, and in hero left we will have an h1 and we'll give it a class of hero heading, and we'll just type live blogger, and then we have this text below that. So let's create a paragraph and we'll give it a class of hero subheading, and we'll just type learn to create awesome modern websites for your clients. Now in our design we can see that after awesome we have a line break and after for we have a line break. So let's add that over here. So after awesome we'll just type BR and it will add a line break, and after for we will add a BR. So if you go to our website we can see that we have this text and we have the correct line breaks. Now the next thing we need to add is this button right here. Now for this button we'll just create an anchor tag and we'll just style it and make it look like a button. So here after the paragraph let's create an anchor tag and we'll also give it a class of btn, and for the href I'll just type hash for now, and in here we'll just type learn more. So this is our button. Now the next thing we need to do is create the right part of the hero section. So let's create another division with the class of hero right, and in that we'll have a division to contain this image. So we'll create a division and we'll give it a class of hero image, and we'll type img, and the image is this image right here, hero image.png. And after that we have the search box. So for that we'll create a division with the class of search box container, and in that we'll create an input tag and also this button. So we'll just type input of type text and we'll just give it a placeholder of type something, and then we'll create an input of type submit and we'll give it a value of search. So now we can see we also have the search box over here. Now the last thing we need to add is this background over here. So just before the header ends we will just create an img tag and we'll set the source as img/desktopbg.png. So here we have the desktop bg right here. It is white in color so we cannot see it right now, and we have completed the HTML for our hero section. In the previous video we started with the HTML, and in this video we will start writing the CSS so that we can get the exact look that we want for our design. So let's get started. This is the result of our HTML as of now, and this is our HTML code. If you haven't watched the previous video you can watch it. I will leave the link in the description below. So this is the design that we are aiming for. So we have added all these elements to our page, and now let's go ahead and start writing the CSS. So here we have already linked our CSS file. One change I want to do in this HTML is that I will remove this desktop bg from here, and I will add it in a parent division. So let's remove this line of code from here, and we'll create a division with a class of header wrapper, and I will just end this division after the header. So here we can see the header is inside another division with the class of header wrapper, and after the header here we will add the image. So I'll type img, and here we'll type img/desktopbg.png. Alright, now let's go to the CSS and let's start styling the page. First of all we will set the margin of the body to 0. So we'll type body margin and we'll set it to 0. And now we'll add the styling for the header wrapper. So this is the division that we just created. So we'll type header wrapper, and we'll give it a height of 100 viewport height, which will cover the whole browser window, and we'll also give it a background color. So if you go to the design, this has a linear background because here we have a different color and down here we have a different color. So this color changes from here to the bottom. So we have to add a linear gradient to our header wrapper. So let's type background, and to add a linear gradient you have to type linear gradient, and here you have to add some values. First of all we'll set the rotation, so we'll just type 220 degrees, and then we'll set the color. So the color will be set to 5EC8FF. So this will be the starting color, and we need to set a percentage value for this. So we'll type 18%, and then we will add the second color, and the second color is actually white, so we'll just type FFF, and for this we will add a percentage. So the remaining percentage of 18% is 72. Right, now let's see how it looks. And now we can see we have this linear background, we have this color over here. So this is the color that we set, and it is for 18%, so it covers till about here, and then from here the white color kicks in. So that's it with the linear gradient. Now let's style the main header. So if you go to the HTML, we can see inside the header wrapper we have this header with the class of main header. So let's target that. We'll type header dot main header, and by the way, we are using this font called Railway for this design. So we have to first of all add the font to our HTML. So let's go to Google Fonts. So here we'll just type Railway, and this is the font. Let's select that, and we'll get two styles from here. The first one is the regular one, so let's click on select this style, and then the next one is we'll select the extra bold version. So we have these two font styles over here, and then we can add the link to our HTML file. So just copy this link tag from here, and let's go back to the HTML, and we'll paste the link in the head section. So we'll paste it right here. Alright, so let's go back to the CSS, and here we will add the font family. So we'll type font family, and we'll set it to Railway sans serif. So now we can see that the font has changed. Now we'll set a maximum width to this main header. So we'll type max width, and we'll set the max width to 1000 pixels, and we'll also bring it to the center. So we'll type margin 0 for top and bottom, and auto for left and right. So now it is in the center. Now let's style the navigation menu. So in our design we can see we have a little bit of space at the top of the navigation menu. So let's type nav dot main nav, because here we can see for the navigation menu we have this class called main nav for this nav element. So in this we will give it a padding top of 32 pixels, and we can see we have this padding at the top. And now we'll style the unordered list. So we'll type nav dot main nav ul, and first of all we'll remove the bullets. So we'll type list style to none, and then we'll set it to display flex, because we want all the elements to be one beside the other. And then we'll also add spacing between each of these. So we'll add even space between all of these different elements. So for that we can just type justify content, and we'll type space around. So now we can see it positions itself correctly with even spaces in between all of these, and we'll also center it vertically. So we'll just type align items to center. Alright, now let's add a background color. So we'll set a background color of 00324B. Right, now let's set a height to this. So we'll set a height of 48 pixels, and let's also add a border radius, because we have these rounded corners over here. So I'll type border radius, and we'll set it to 8 pixels. Alright, now let's style these anchor tags. So here we'll type nav.main nav ullia, and we'll set the color to FC, and we'll set the text decoration to none to remove the underlines, and we'll also set the font weight to bold, and then we'll also text transform it to uppercase. So we'll type text transform uppercase. Right, I think that's it with the navigation menu. Now let's go ahead and start with the hero container. So for the hero section we have this division called hero container, and in that we have two divisions, hero left and hero right. So let's target the hero container division. So here we'll type hero container, and first of all we'll set the display to flex, because we want these elements to be one next to the other. The hero left should be on the left and the hero right on the right. So we'll set the display to flex, and we'll also align it to the center. So we'll type align items to the center, and we'll also add even spacing between these two. So here we will type justify content, and we'll type space between. Alright, so now we can see that we have space between these two different divisions, and now let's also add some padding to both these sides. So we'll just add a padding of 0 for top and bottom and 32 pixels for left and right. And now we need to set the height of this hero section to the maximum, because right now, let's see what is the height. We'll just add a background color, and right now this is the height of the hero container. We wanted to have the height till the end of the browser window. So for that, let's type height of 100 viewport height, and now we can see we have a larger height, but if we scroll down, we can see that the height is more than 100 viewport height. That is because we have this space at the top and it is not being calculated while the height is being set. So first of all, let's see what is the height of this nav menu. So right click over here and click on inspect. So now if we hover over this main nav, we can see that at the top it says 1000 into 96. So the height of this main nav is 96 pixels. So let's subtract that from the height of our hero container. So here we will add a function. We will type calc, and here we will type 100 viewport height minus 96 pixels. And now we can see that the height is a little less, but we still have a little more height than we need. So that is because of this margin right here between the hero container and the main nav. So let's remove this margin from here. So let's go to CSS, and here in the UL we will add margin bottom and we'll set it to 0. Now we can see we don't have any margin between these two elements, and the height has perfectly been set to 100 viewport height. So now let's remove the background color. Alright, now let's target this heading. So we will type hero container h1.hero heading, and we'll set the font size to 48 pixels, and we'll set the color of the text to D62828, and we'll also set margin bottom of 0. Now let's target the subheading. So we'll type hero container p.hero subheading, and for the subheading we'll have a font size of 20 pixels, and we'll also add a line height of 1.6. Alright, now let's target this button. So here we will type hero container a.btn, and for the button we will have a display of inline block, because anchor tags are by default inline, but there are some problems with inline elements when it comes to margins, heights and all those things. So I'll just set it to inline block, and we'll set the background color to 003 to 4B, and we'll set a padding of 12 pixels top and bottom and 42 pixels left and right, and let's set the color to FC, and we'll remove the underline. So we'll type text decoration to none, and we'll also set the font weight to bold, and the text transform to uppercase, and let's also add a border radius. So we'll add a border radius of 8 pixels. Alright, that's it with the button. Now we'll add this background that we have over here for the hero left. So we have this rectangle over here behind the hero left division. So we'll create that using a before selector. So let's go ahead and we'll add it behind the h1. So we'll type hero container h1.hero heading colon before, and the way before works is that when we add any content over here, for example if you type 123, and if you go back to the design, we can see that before the h1 we have this 123 content over here. So let's remove 123 from here, and we'll set the position of the before selector relative to the heading. So for the heading we will type position of relative, and here we'll type position of absolute. So let's set the height to 350 pixels, and we'll set a width of 300 pixels, and let's set a background color of RGBA 0, 50, 75 and 0.1. Now we can see we have this background over here. Let's also set the position. So we'll set the left position to negative 48 pixels and the top position to negative 56 pixels. So now it perfectly fits with the hero left division. Now this background is basically at the top of the hero left division. So let's go ahead and let me just set this to say 9.1, and now we can see that the background is at the top of the hero left division. So we'll set the z index of the hero left division to something greater than 0. So here we will just type hero container hero left, and we'll set the z index to 100, and we'll also set the z index of the before selector to negative 100. Now you can see that the background is behind this hero left division. So let's set this back to 0.1. Right, now let's target the hero right division. So here we will type hero container hero right and search box container. So in the HTML we can see in the hero right we have this division with the class of search box container, and in that we have the search box. So let's go ahead and text align it to the right. So now we can see that our search box is at the right, and we'll also set a margin top. So we'll type margin top of 48 pixels. Now let's target this input field. So we'll type hero container hero right, and we'll type search box container input of type text, and we'll set a padding of 12 pixels top and bottom and 32 pixels left and right, and we'll set a border of 1 pixel solid 00324B, and we'll set a border radius of 10 pixels for top left and 0 for top right and bottom right, and 10 pixels for bottom left. Now let's set the font family of the text field to railway, and we'll also set the font size to 16 pixels. Now let's target this input button. So here we'll just type hero container hero right search box container input of type submit, and I will just copy these 3 rules from here and paste it over here, and we'll set a 10 pixels border radius to all the corners, and let's set a background color of 00324B, and we'll set the text color to FC, and let's also copy the font family and the font size from here, and let's set the font weight to bold and also the text transform to uppercase. Right now we'll set some negative margin left to this submit button so that our design looks like this. So let's go ahead and type margin left of negative 12 pixels. So now the submit button is just where we wanted it to be. And now let's move this image to the right a little bit. So for that we will just go ahead and target it using hero container hero right and hero image, and we'll set a margin right of negative 42 pixels. Alright, now the last thing we need to do is add the desktop BG that we have right here. This image should be added to the background. So for that, let's go back to the HTML, and here we can see inside the header wrapper we have this image which is desktop BG. Now we have to set the position of this image relative to the header wrapper division. So let's go to the style.css and we'll go to the top, and this is the header wrapper division. So for this we will set the position to relative, and we'll set the position of the image which is inside the header wrapper. So I'll type header wrapper img. I think we'll just give it a class. So we'll give it a class of desktop bg, and we'll just type img.desktopbg, and we'll set the position to absolute, and we'll set the width to 100%, and we'll set the bottom to 0. So now we can see that our background image is being displayed over here. Now we want this hero right to be on the top of the background. So here we have already added the z index of the hero left to 100. Let's also add the hero right over here. So we'll type hero container hero right, and now we can see that it is on the top of the background image. Now in this video we'll make it responsive so that even the mobile users can have a great experience on your website. So let's get started. So here I have reduced the width of the browser window, and this is how it looks right now for the mobile version. So it doesn't look nice, everything seems cluttered. So let's add some styles for the mobile version. For that we'll be using media queries. So let's go to the style.css file, and here we'll just add a comment, and we'll just type media queries. And to add media query you can just type add media, and in parentheses you can just type the max width or the min width. So here we'll type max width of we'll just keep it to 600 pixels. So if the width of the window is less than 600 pixels, then whatever style we have over here inside this block will be executed. Now to test that out, let's just type asterisk, and we'll just type display none. So if we are less than 600 pixels in width, then everything should be hidden from the screen. So we'll just type display none, and now we can see that nothing is being displayed on the screen. But if we increase the browser window, we can see that this style is not being applied because we are more than 600 pixels. Alright, the media query is working fine, so let's delete this and let's add the actual styling. Now let's go to design and see how our mobile version is structured. So here we can see in the mobile version, the first thing we can notice is that we don't have this hero image. So first of all, let's go ahead and get rid of the hero image in the mobile version. So if you go to the index.html file, we can see we have hero right, and in that we have the hero image and the search box. So for the hero image we have this division with the class of hero image. Now let's go ahead and hide that. So let me just refresh, and right, this is our current styling. Alright, so here we will type hero container hero right and hero image, and here we just type display none. Alright, now the hero image is not being displayed on the mobile version. The next thing we'll do is we'll position this search box to the bottom. So here we can see the search box is at the bottom, and we'll just set the position to fixed. So here I will just type hero container hero right and search box container, and we'll set the position to fixed, and we'll set the bottom position to 32 pixels and left to 0 and text align to center, and we also need to set the right to 0 to bring it to the center. Alright, so now we have the search box at the bottom and the center. Now in the mobile version we don't have this desktop navigation being displayed over here, so let's hide that. So here we'll type nav.mainNav, and we'll set the display to none. The next thing we'll do is we'll remove this desktop BG from here, because in our design we have a different BG image for the mobile version. So if you go to the Explorer, we can see that we have an image called mobilebg.png. So we'll be using this instead of this desktop BG. So let's go ahead and hide that from here as well. So now that we are hiding a lot of things, we can just add everything inside just one block. So we can just add a comma over here, and we'll just copy this from here and paste it over here, and we can just remove these lines of code from here. And even for this desktop BG, let's see what is the selector that we have for that. So if you scroll up, we can see this is the selector for the desktop BG. So let's copy this and add a comma and paste it over here. Alright, now we don't have the desktop BG displayed over here. Now we need to add the mobile BG to our HTML, and let's see what else we need to add. So we need to even add this mobile navigation menu over here, and when we click on this menu button, we also need to display the menu items. So for that we'll be creating a separate mobile navigation menu. So let's go to the index.html file, and let's make the necessary changes. First of all, let's add the mobile BG over here. So we'll type img and img slash mobile bg.png, and we'll also add a class of mobile bg. So here we can see, if we scroll down, the mobile BG is added over here. We'll style that later, but first of all, let's add all the other elements. So let's scroll up and let's add the mobile nav. So after this desktop nav, let's create one more nav, and we'll just give it a class of mobile nav, and in that we have two images. So we have this logo over here and also this menu button. So let's add two anchor tags, and in the first anchor tag we'll just type img and we'll type img slash logo.png. Now for the menu button, we'll just add one more anchor tag, and here we'll just type img, and I have this image called menu button.png. Alright, we have both these images displayed over here. Now we also need to add all the menu items for the mobile version. So first of all, we'll style the mobile BG and this mobile nav, and then we will add the mobile navigation menu items. So let's go back to the style.css file and let's style the mobile BG. So we'll type header wrapper img.mobilebg, and we'll just go to the desktop BG and we'll copy the styles from that. So I'll just copy these 3 lines of code from here and paste them over here. Alright, so the mobile BG is being displayed over here. Now let's style the mobile nav. So let's add a new comment, mobile nav, and we'll type mobile nav. And first of all, let's set a background color of 00324B, and we'll set the position to fixed. And now the width is set according to the content. So to set the width to 100%, we have to set the left position to 0 and the right position to 0. And we'll set the display to flex, and we'll set justify content to space between. And let's also add a padding of 16 pixels top and bottom and 32 pixels left and right. And we'll also set the z index to 400. I think this image is a bit too large, so let's go ahead and set the height of the image. So we'll type mobile nav img, and we'll set a height of let's test 50 pixels, and that looks alright. You can set this height according to your needs, so I'll just set it to 50 pixels. Now let's also reduce the font size of some of these elements. I think we can reduce the font size of this subheading. So let's select the selector from here. So I'll just copy this and paste it over here, and let's set the font size to 16 pixels. And we can also reduce the font size of the heading. So type hero container h1.hero heading, and let's set the font size to 32 pixels. I think it's a bit too low. Let's set it back to 48 pixels or 42 pixels. Alright, this looks fine. I think we can set a margin left to this hero left division. So let's see how it looks. We'll type hero container hero left, and margin left of say 32 pixels, and that looks fine. By the way, if you want to see how this looks on different mobile devices, you can just right click over here and click on inspect. And I'm using the Chrome browser. So in different browsers you have different options for this. So in Chrome you have this button over here called toggle device toolbar, and when you click on that, we can see that we have different views for different devices over here. This is how it will look on a Pixel 2 device. It is also showing us the width and the height of the device, and we can go ahead and check different devices over here. So if we check Moto G4, this is how it will look on a Moto G4 device. This is how it will look on an iPhone 10. So in this way you can check different devices. Let me just change this to Pixel 2 XL. Alright, now it's time for us to add the mobile nav menu items. So for that, let's go back to the HTML, and after our mobile nav, let's create a new division and we'll give it a class of mobile menu items. And in that, let's copy and paste the UL from our desktop nav. So just copy this and paste it over here. And we don't want to have this logo in between, so let's delete this li from here. Now if you go back to the desktop view, we can see that we also have these two buttons for the mobile version over here, and also this mobile nav menu items displayed over here, and we also have the mobile BG being displayed over here. So down here we can see that this is the mobile BG. So we don't want to display all this in the desktop version, so let's go back to the CSS and let's hide all those from here in the desktop version. So let's go outside the media query, and here we will type mobile nav and also mobile menu items, and also header wrapper mobile BG, and we'll set the display to none for all of these. So now we can see we don't have any mobile elements displayed on the desktop version. So let's go back to the mobile version. So let's scroll down and let's style the mobile menu items over here. So I'll just type mobile menu items, and we'll set the height to 100 viewport height, and we'll set the display to flex, and we'll align items to the center and justify content to the center. We'll set the position to fixed so that it will be fixed on the screen when it is being displayed, and we'll set the left to 0 and the right to 0 to bring it to the center. Now let's set a background color, and we'll set it to 003 to 4B, and we'll also set the Z index to 200. Alright, now let's remove these bullets from here. So we'll tap mobile menu items UL, and we'll set the list style to none, and we'll text align it to the center, and we'll also set the padding to 0 so that it will be right in the center. Right, now let's style the list items. So we'll tap mobile menu items ULLI, and we'll set the margin to 32 pixels top and bottom, 0 for left and right. And now let's style the anchor tags. So we'll type mobile menu items ULLIA, and we'll set the color to FC, and we'll remove the underlines. So we'll type text decoration to none. We'll set the font size to 16 pixels, and text transform to uppercase, and also set the font weight to bold. Now the thing is, we don't want to display this mobile menu items by default. We want to display it when the user clicks on this menu button. So by default we will set the opacity of this to 0. So let's add some more styles over here, and we'll set the opacity to 0, and we'll also set the transform to translate Y to -100 viewport height. So at the beginning our mobile menu items division will be above the screen, and it will also have the opacity set to 0. We'll also set a transition for smooth animation, so we'll set all to 400 milliseconds. Right, now we will add an active class to the mobile menu items, and when the active class is added we want to set the opacity to 1 and also reset the translate value. So let's type mobile menu items dot active, and make sure that you don't have any space between these two words, because we want to have both these classes applied on the division. So we'll set the opacity to 1 and also set the transform translate Y to 0. Now the only thing we need to do is add and remove the active classes to the mobile menu items whenever we click on this menu button. So for that we'll be using a couple of lines of JavaScript. So let's create a new JavaScript file, and we'll just name it main.js, and we need to reference two things over here. One is the mobile menu items, and the next is this menu button. So for the menu button we will add a class, and we'll call it menu button. So let's reference these two things over here in the main.js file. Before that, let's add the main.js file to our HTML. So here we'll type script src, and we'll type main.js over here. Alright, let's go to main.js, and let's type menu button, and we'll set it to document.query selector dot menu button, and let's reference the mobile menu items. So we'll type mobile menu items as the name of the constant. We'll also set everything to constant, and we'll type document dot query selector mobile menu items. So now we have these two constants over here in JavaScript, which has reference to the menu button division and also the mobile menu items division. Now let's add an event listener to the menu button. So let's type menu button dot add event listener, and we'll set the event listener for the click event, and let's create a function over here. And in this function we will add and remove the active class to the mobile menu items. So we'll type mobile menu items dot class list dot toggle. So toggle means if there is a class, then it will be removed, and if there is no class called active, then it will add the active class. So we'll set the class to active over here. Alright, now this should work. So let's test it out. Let's click on the menu button, and we can see that the mobile menu items are being displayed over here. Let's click on this menu button once more, and it disappears. Now in this video I'll show you how to add some animation to these elements in our hero section, and that will make this website look even more better and modern. Now to make the task of animation easier for us, we'll be using a library. So we'll be using a library called GreenSock GSAP. So just search for GreenSock on Google and you'll get this website, greensock.com, and this is the official website of GreenSock. And if you scroll down, we can see that we have this CDN displayed over here. So I'll just copy this and let's add it to our HTML. So here we are in the index.html file, and if you scroll down, we can see down we have the script tag over here, and we'll just add one more script tag before that. And in that we'll type src, and in the src we will just paste the CDN link. Now we can start with animating the elements using GSAP. So below this line of code we will create one more script tag, and in this we will write all the code for the animation. Now to add animations to your elements using GSAP, you have to just type GSAP dot from or to, and in parentheses you have to add the name of the element and also the properties. So first of all, let's go ahead and animate this h1 over here. So if we scroll up, we can see for the h1 we have this class called hero heading. So let's target that. Here we'll type h1 dot hero heading, and then we'll add a comma, and then we'll type curly braces, and here we will add all the properties that we want to animate. So first of all, let's set the opacity to 0. This is the start state because we have written from, so it will animate from this property to the current property that we have on the element. And then we'll set the duration. So the duration we will set to 2 seconds, and then we can set the ease. Now for the ease, you have a lot of different options in GSAP. So just Google for GSAP ease and just go to the documentation, and here we can see all the different options that we have for easing in GSAP. You can select any of these and check out how the easing will work. And you can even add your custom easing over here. You can edit this curve and set the easing as you want. But for our animation, we'll just add a simple one. We'll just select this one called circ.easeout. So we'll type circ.easeout. Right, now let's go to our website and see whether the animation is working. So let's refresh our page, and we can see that the animation is working alright. So let's add the animation to the other elements as well. So let's go over here and let's target the subheading. For the subheading, we have this paragraph with the class of hero subheading. So let's target that. GSAP from p.hero subheading, and we'll add curly braces and we'll add all the properties over here. For this, we will have opacity to 0, as the initial value, and we'll set the X position to -50, and we'll also set the duration to 2 seconds, and we'll set the same easing circ.ease out, and let's refresh the page, and here we can see that the animation is working. Right, now let's add the animation for this button. So for the button we have this class called btn, and it is inside this hero container. So let's target that. I'll just copy this line of code, and here we will type .hero container a.btn, and we'll set the opacity to 0 at the beginning, and x to -50, duration should be set to 2, and everything else is as it is. So let's check how it looks, and we can see that the animation is working, but we need to have a little bit of delay between the animation of the subheading and the button. So for that we can use an option called delay. So we'll set a delay to the subheading also. So after the main heading we will have a little bit of delay before the animation of the subheading, and we'll also add some more delay to the button. So here we will just add delay, and we'll set the delay to 0.4, and for the button we will set a delay of 1.2. So now let's check it out. We'll just refresh our page, and now you can see that the animation looks better. So now let's go ahead and add animation to this nav menu. So I'll just copy this and paste it over here. So if we scroll up, we can see that for the nav menu we have this nav element with a class of main nav. So let's type that over here, nav.main nav. So we'll set the opacity to 0, and instead of X we will type Y, because we want it to fade in from the top. So we'll set the Y to -50. The delay we will set to 1 second, and the duration will be 2 seconds, and the easing will be the same. So now let's check the animation. So now the navigation bar also has the animation. Now let's animate this hero image. So let's copy this, and for the hero image we have this division with the class of hero image, and in that we have this image. We will add a class to this img element so that we can target it directly. So we'll type class hero image img. So let's go over here, and we will type .hero image img. We'll set the opacity to 0, and we want it to move in from the right. So we'll set the X to 100 pixels, and we'll set the delay to 1.8, and the duration will be set to 2, and the easing will be the same. So let's test it out. So now we can see that the hero image is sliding in from the right. Now let's also animate this search box. So for the search box we have a division with the class of search box container. So we'll type search box container, and we'll have the opacity set to 0. We'll not move it anywhere, so we'll just remove this X equals 10 from here, and we'll set the delay to 2.2, and the duration will be 2, and everything else as it is. I think it will be better if we animate it from the left. Alright, so let's also add an X value over here, X, and we'll set it to 40. Right, now it looks even better. Right, now the last thing we'll do is we will animate each of these nav menu items separately. We can do that easily using GSAP. So let's go to our HTML, and the only thing we need to do is we have to add a class to all the elements that we want the animation to happen. So we want the animation to happen to all the list items. So we have to provide a specific class to all these list items. So we'll give it a class of nav anim, and I'll just copy this and paste it to all the list items. You can name this class anything you want, but you have to access the same class down in the GSAP. So let's scroll down and I'll just copy this line of code. And here you have to target the class that you just created. So we'll type nav anim. So we'll set the opacity to 0. We will set the X to -30. And we'll change the delay in a bit. Before that, let's check the other properties. We have the duration set to 2 and easing set to circ ease out. Now we have to add one more option over here, which is called stagger. And using stagger, you can add delay between each of the individual items. So let's add a stagger of 0.2. And we can see we have a delay of 0.2 between the animation of each of the list items. Alright, let's update the delay to 1.5. Alright, that looks fine. Alright, that's basically it with the animation of the desktop version of our website. Now let's open the mobile version and see whether we need to change anything. So let's reload the page. And all the animation down here is working alright. We need to animate these two elements as well. So let's go ahead and target that. We'll just add a comment, mobile version. So if we scroll up and take a look at the mobile version, we can see that we have this menu button over here with the class of menu button, and we also have this logo over here. Let's also give it a class so that we can target it directly. So we'll type class and we'll give it a class of mobile logo. So we have these two elements, mobile logo and menu button. Let's target them. So here we'll type mobile logo, and we will animate the mobile logo from the left, and the opacity is 0, and we have X set to -30. The delay is 1.5, duration 2, and everything seems to be alright. We'll just remove the stagger from here. Alright, let's check it out. Alright, the animation looks fine. Let's add the animation to the menu button as well. So just duplicate this line of code, and here instead of mobile logo we will type menu button, and we'll just set the X to +30, and let's check. It looks alright. Let's add a little bit more delay and see how it looks. So we'll set the delay to 1.8. Now it looks better. So that's it with the animation of the mobile version of our hero section. So in this video we added the animation to the mobile version and also the desktop version of our hero section. I think we have some problem with the animation of the list items. The stagger is not working. Let's go to the HTML, and I think we deleted the line of code by mistake. It was similar to this line of code, so let's copy this and paste it over here. We had the class called nav anim, and we also had a stagger of 0.2, and I think the delay was set to 1.5. Alright, now it looks alright. So we have our hero section completely designed. Now it's time for us to add this to our Blogger website. Now in this video I'll show you how to add this hero section to a Blogger website which has one of the default themes applied to it. And then I'll also show you how to add this to the custom theme that we created from scratch. This is the website that we're going to add the hero section to. So this is the theme. This is how it looks. And this is the hero section as of now. We just have the heading and the tags displayed over here, and this is the dashboard. So let's go ahead and see how it is structured. Let's right click over here and click on inspect. So if we scroll up, we can see that we have this header element over here, and in that we have the center top, and everything is inside this header element. And if we go up, this is the center and this is the page body. So what we have to do is we have to remove this header from here if it is the home page, and then add our own hero section in place of this. So we'll just add an if condition to this header, and if the current page is the home page, then we will hide the header from here and we will add the hero section. And if it is not the home page, then we will just keep the header and we won't add the hero section. So let's go to the dashboard, and we'll go to theme, and then click on this arrow right here and click on edit HTML. Alright, now let's scroll down and see where is the header. So this is all the CSS, and if you scroll down even more, here we can see that this is where the body starts, and then we have some body classes over here. And if you scroll down even more, we can see that we have this header right here. So this is what is displaying this header that we have right now. Now we will add this header inside an if condition so that it will only be displayed if it is not the home page. So let me just fold this by clicking on this button. So this is our header. Now let's add an if condition over here. So we'll just type b:if cond equals, and we'll type data:blog.url is not equal to data:blog.homepage URL, and I'll just close this over here, and then I'll close the if condition after the header. So I'll type /b:if. Alright, so now we have added this inside the if condition. Now our header will only be displayed if it is not the home page. So let's save this, and let's refresh our page, and we can see that the header is not being displayed in our website. Let's open one of our posts, and now we can see that the header is being displayed. Alright, now it's time for us to add our responsive hero section in place of the header. So let's go back to the edit HTML, and we will add one more if condition over here. So this hero section will only be displayed if it is the home page. So I'll just copy this if condition from here, and I'll just change this to is equal to, and close the if condition right here. Now here I will add the HTML of the hero section. So let's go to the source code, and I will leave the link of the source code in the description below, so you can just copy and paste. I'll just copy this header wrapper division from here till the end of the division, and I'll just paste it over here. And right away we can see that we have some errors. So we need to close some of the tags over here. First of all, we need to close all the image tags. So here we have this img tag, so we have to close this over here. So I'll just type /, and we have to close this img tag over here as well, and this one right here. And we'll also need to close this br tag, so I'll type / over here. And then we have this image tag, so I'll just close this over here. And then we have these input tags, so we'll also close these. And lastly we have these two images. Right now we have gotten rid of all the errors, so let's click on save, and let's go back to our website, and let's refresh our page. And here we can see that our hero section is being displayed. We don't have the styles yet, but all the elements are being displayed over here except the images, which we'll add later. Right now let's go ahead and add the CSS. So let's go back to our source code, and we'll go to style.css, and we'll copy all the CSS from this line of code, header wrapper, to the end, and we'll go ahead and find all the CSS. So if we scroll up, we can see that this is all the CSS that we have for this theme. So here I'll just create a comment, and I'll just type responsive hero section. Right, let's paste the CSS over here, and let's save this and see how it looks. Let's refresh the page, and we can see that it is almost working, and we have some problems in the CSS. We don't have the width set to 100%, and the images we will add later. So if you go to the original design, we can see that we have the width set to 100%. So now what we have to do is we have to move this from wherever it is right now. So if I go to inspect, we can see that the header wrapper is inside the center top placeholder, which is inside the centered. So for centered, we have a specific width set to it. We have to move this header wrapper all the way to the top so that it is not bound by any division for a maximum width. So let's go over here and let's go to the HTML of the hero section, and we'll copy everything from the if condition to the end of the if condition right here, and I'll just cut this from here, and I'll scroll up and I'll just paste this right here just after the body, and after these lines of code I'll just paste it over here, and let's save it. Now it doesn't have any container division, so it can take up the full width of the page. So let's refresh our page. So now we can see we have the 100% width of our page, and the design is looking great. Now the next thing we'll do is we will add the font that we used in our design to our Blogger website. So the font that we have used is called Railway. So let's go back to the theme, and let's go to the top of our theme code, and here we can see we have this head section, and in that we can copy and paste the link of the font. So I'll just paste the link of the font right here. Let's go to our source code, and let's go to index.html, and this is the link of the font. Let's copy this and paste it over here, and we need to end this tag right here, and let's save this. And we have an error on line number 13. So here we can see that we have this ampersand symbol over here, and since we are working with an XML file, we have to replace the ampersand with ampersand AMP semicolon, or else it won't work. So I'll just type ampersand AMP semicolon, and let's just save this once more. And now we can see that it has updated successfully. So let's go back to our website and let's refresh our page, and here we can see that the Railway font is being displayed. Now let's add all the images to our hero section. So if we go to our HTML of the hero section, we can see that we have some img tags, and in that we have typed img/logo.png. That's because in our local project we had the image inside this folder called img, but in our Blogger website we don't have a folder called img, and we don't even have this image called logo.png. So we have to first of all upload this image to our Blogger website or somewhere where you can get the link of the image, and then add the link to this src. So for that, let's go back to the Blogger dashboard, and we'll go to pages, and we'll add our images in one of our pages, and then we'll be able to get the link of the image, and we'll add that to our image tag. So you can create a new page over here just for adding the images. I already have this page where I have added some images earlier, so I'll just open this and I'll just delete this image. Alright, let's go to the compose view, and let's click on insert image and click on upload from computer, and then click on choose files. And these are all the images we need for our responsive hero section. So let's select all of these and click on open. So let's click on select. So all our images have been added to our page. We'll just make sure that it is in the original size. Alright, now let's go back to the HTML view, and here we can see we have the link of the images. So first of all, we have this link of the desktop BG image. So let's copy this from the href, and let's go back to our theme code, and let's find where is the desktop BG. So here's the desktop BG image. I'll just replace this with the current link, and let's go back, and the next image we have is the hero image. So let's copy this, and let's go back over here, and let's find hero image. So we have the hero image right here. Let's replace this, Then we have the logo. So let's copy this, and we have logo in two places. First of all, we have the logo over here, and then we have the logo over here in the mobile version as well. And then we have the menu button. So let's copy this link from here, and let's add it in place of the menu button right here. And then lastly, we have this mobile BG. So let's copy this and paste it over here, and let's save this, and I'll just close this. So let's refresh our page and see whether all the images are being displayed. So here we can see we have all the images displayed correctly. Now lastly, we need to add the animation. So for that, let's go back to our theme code and let's go to the end of the theme code. And here we need to add some JavaScript and also the code of the GSAP library. So let's go back to the source code, and let's copy these lines of code from here till here, and I'll just paste it just before the body ends. Right, now we'll also add the JavaScript that we had in the main.js file. So let's go over here and copy this, and I'll just add it over here. Now let's save this and see whether the animation works. So let's refresh our page. And the animation is working perfectly. Let's open the mobile version and let's refresh the page. And the animation is working perfectly over here as well. Let's click on this menu button, and we have this mobile menu displayed over here, and when we click on it once more, it goes back. Alright, so we have successfully added our responsive hero section to one of the Blogger websites which had one of the Blogger default themes. So now let's go to one of our posts and see whether we have this hero section displayed on the page. And here we can see we don't have the hero section displayed. We have the default header being displayed over here. But if you go to the home page, then the hero section is displayed. Now we need to fix a small issue that we have when we go to any other page other than the home page. So let's go to one of our posts, and if I right click over here and click on inspect, if you go to console, we can see we have an error which says cannot read property add event listener of null. That's because JavaScript is trying to access some things which are not present in the current page. So for that, let's go back to the theme code, and we'll just include all this code inside an if condition. So let's add an if condition, and here we will type if menu button, then we'll execute all this code. Now what we're doing over here is that we are checking whether we have this menu button element inside this page, and if we have it in the current page, then that means that the current page is the home page. So we'll be executing all this code, and if there is no element with the class menu button in the current page, then the current page is not the home page, and we won't be executing these lines of code. So now let's save this and see whether we have the error. And let's right click and click on inspect and go to console, and now we can see that we don't have the error displayed over here. So we have successfully added the design of the hero section to our Blogger website, but there's one more thing remaining, which is to replace this search bar with a working search bar of Blogger. So that we'll do in the next video. We'll just replace this search bar with the search bar widget of Blogger, and then we'll style it to look it exactly like this, and the visitor will be able to search things on the website. Now there's one last thing remaining, that is to replace this search bar with a real search bar so that the user can just type something and search. Right now it does nothing because this is just a design. We have an input box and this button right here. If we click on that, nothing happens because there's no functionality attached to this. Now we're going to add the default search bar of Blogger to this hero section, and then we will design it to look exactly like this. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's get started. Let's go to the dashboard and let's go to theme, and we'll click on edit HTML, and let's scroll down and see where is our hero section. So here we can see this is the hero section, and let's see where is the search bar. And here we can see this is the search box container. We have this division with the class of search box container, and in that we have the input box, and then we have the submit button. Now let's delete all this from here, and let's add the widget blog search into this. Now to create a widget in a Blogger website, you have to first of all create a section. So first of all, let's create a section. So we'll type b:section, and for the section you need to have an ID. So we'll type ID, and we'll set the ID as search box container. And in the previous search container division that we had a class called search box container, and we had given the styling to that class. So let's also add a class over here. So we'll type class search box container. Alright, let's close the section over here, and in this we'll create a widget. So we'll type b widget, and we'll create a widget with a type of blog search, and I will give it an ID of blog search 1, and close the widget right here. Now let's go ahead and click on save, and it says more than one widget was found with the ID blog search 1. So I think we already have a search widget in this theme. So let's change this ID to blog search 2, and let's save it. And now it has been updated successfully. Alright, now our blog search widget has been added. Let's go back to our website, and let's refresh this page. And here we can see we have this search box right here. This is the title of the search box, and here somewhere we have the search input box, and here somewhere we have the button. So we cannot see it clearly because the styling is not right. So let's go back over here, and first of all let's reload this page so that we can see all the code inside the widget. So just go ahead and reload this page. Now let's go back to the hero section, and we'll be able to see all the code. So here we can see this is the search box container section, and in that we have this widget blog search 2. And the first thing we need to do is we need to remove the title. Here we have the title, and the search box is down here. So first of all, let's remove the title. So I'll just remove this line of code which includes the title inside the widget. The next thing to do is change the placeholder of the input field. So if you go to our website, we can see that the placeholder is search this blog, but in our design we had the placeholder as type something. So here we can see we have expression placeholder right here. We just remove expression from here, and I'll just change this variable to type something. Now the next thing we'll do is we want to bring the input field and this input button to the same division. So here we can see in our code we have this division called search box container, and in that we have the input field and also the input button. So both of these should be inside the same division. Right now we can see that we have the input box over here inside this division called search input, and then we have the search button here outside the division. So let's cut this from here and bring it inside the search input division. Now in our CSS, if you go back to the CSS, we can see we had targeted the input field with input of type text over here, and if you go over here we can see that we don't have any type of text right here in this input field. So for that we'll just create a class, and we'll access the input field using the class. So we'll type class, and we'll just add a class named search input field. Alright, I think that's it with the structure of our search box. Now let's save this, and now let's go ahead and start styling this. We already have added styling to the previous search box, so we'll just make some changes to that, and we'll be able to style this as well. So first of all, let's style the input field. So for that we have this class called search input field. So let's go to the CSS, and here we are targeting the input of type text. So just replace this with input dot search input field, And let's save this and see how it looks right now. So we can see we have some improvement. We have this styling to the input field, and we can also see the button right now. Now let's go ahead and make some more changes to the input field. Right now we can see that it is transparent because through the input field we can see the background. But if you go to the original design, it has a white background color. So let me just open the original design. We can see that we have this white background color. We cannot see the background through this. So for that, let's go ahead and add a background color of white. And right now the text color is white, so let's change it to black. And let's save it. Alright, so now we have the white background color and the text color is black. Now we need to change the color of the placeholder because it is white right now and we cannot see it. Now to change the color of the placeholder, you have to copy this and paste it over here and then type : placeholder. Now we can style the placeholder over here. So let's set the color to black and let's save it and let's refresh the page. And now we can see the placeholder is being displayed over here. Now I think the opacity of the placeholder is too less compared to our design. We can see that it has a little more opacity. So let's go ahead and add the opacity right here. So we'll type opacity and we'll set it to 0.7 and let's save it. Right now we have the correct opacity. Now let's go ahead and style the container division of the input field and the button. So the container division had a class called search input. So let's target that over here. So I'll just copy this from here and here I will type search input. Now the input field and the button are inside this division called search input. Now since we want to have the button and the input field one next to the other like here in the design, we'll set the container division to display of flex. So let's type display flex. Now let's save it. Alright, now we can see that we have the input field over here on the left and the search button on the right. Now we want to have the width of the button less than the input field over here. So for that we can use a property called flex. So for the input field we will give a flex of 2 and for the submit button we will give a flex of 1. So now the submit button will have half the width of the input field. So let's click on save and let's refresh the page. Alright, now we have the correct width for the input field and the search button. Now the search button text has moved a little to the bottom, so let's right click over here and inspect and let's take a look at the styling that we have. And if we scroll down, we can see we have this property over here called line height. So let's try and change it. So let's change this to a lower number. So I think 26 looks fine. So we have to change the line height to 26 for the input button, and we'll also reduce the width of the whole container. So we'll select the search input and we'll set the width to 400 pixels. And now it has moved a little to the left. So for that we have to give it a margin left. So we'll type margin left of 60 pixels. Alright, that's it with our styling. So let's copy these two lines of code and let's add it over here inside the search input. And let's change the line height of the submit button. So we'll type line height of 26 pixels. Right now let's save it and let's refresh our page. And we can see everything is looking alright and the search box is just as we wanted. Let's try and search for something. So just type A and click on search. We have all the posts matching with the search for A over here. And let's go back. Let's open the mobile version and see how it looks. And it looks alright in the mobile version as well. Let's search for something. And here we have the result of our search. So in the last video we added this hero section to one of our Blogger websites. In this video I'll show you how to add this to the custom theme that we created from scratch. We're going to replace this with this hero section right here, and on the other pages we will have this header right here, but on the home page we will have this new hero section. So let's get started. Now to make things easier and faster, I'll just copy code from this theme and add it to this theme. So let's go to the theme code of this website and let's go to edit HTML. So first of all, let's copy the links of the railway font. So copy this and let's go to the theme code of this website and let's add the theme code over here in the head section. Alright, now let's go ahead and copy all the CSS. So this is the CSS. Let's copy this from here to the end and let's paste this inside this theme. So we'll paste it right here, and now let's copy the code of the hero section. So it starts from here. This is the if condition. So let's copy it from here till here and let's paste it inside the body. And let's also add the JavaScript. So let's go to the end of the theme code and let's copy it from here till here and go to the end of this theme code and paste it right here. Now let's save this and see whether we get any errors. So here you can see more than one widget was found with the ID blog search 2. So we already have a blog search 2 ID in our theme code. So let's change it and we'll change it to blog search 3 and let's save it. And now we don't have any errors. Let's go back to our website and refresh our page. So here we can see the hero section is being displayed. We have to change some things over here. We have to remove this existing navigation bar from here, and then we also have to remove the old hero section. So let's do that. So if you scroll down, we can see here is the code for the top navigation. So we'll just display this navigation bar if we are not on the home page. So let's add an if condition over here, and I'll just copy this if condition from here and paste it over here, and I'll just type is not equal to the home page and close the if condition. Right now I'll just remove this header from here, and now let's save this and let's refresh our page. And here you can see the new hero section is being displayed, and you can replace these menus with the previous menus that we had in the old navigation bar and add the links of those pages over here. And we have a problem with this background color for this button. We'll fix that. And if you go to any other page, we can see we have the other header, and if you go to the home page, we have the new hero section displayed over here. Now there are two things we need to do in this hero section. First of all, we need to make the width of this hero section 100%. Right now it is not 100%. We have this gap over here on the left and the right. If you want to keep it this way, you can just keep this code as it is, but I'll just show you how to add 100% width to this hero section. And we'll also change the background color of this search button. So first of all, right click over here and click on inspect, and let's see what is the selector for this. So here we have top nav search container, input type equals submit, and blog search to input type submit. So these are the two things we have. So let's go ahead and add a new class to this input button, and let's style that. So right now the ID of the blog search is blog search 2. Let's change this to 4, and let's save it. And now we can see we have the correct color for our search button. We also need to add a little bit of margin top to this button. So right click over here and click on inspect. So for hero container A dot button, we can just add a margin top of say 32 pixels, or we can just decrease that to 16 pixels. So let's copy this and paste it inside hero container A dot button. So paste it over here and save it. Now let's add 100% width to the hero section. So for that we have to make some changes in our HTML. So we have header wrapper as the container division of our hero section, and let's go to our website and right click over here and click on inspect. Here for the header wrapper we have set a max width of 1152 pixels. This was basically set for the previous hero section that we had for our theme. It also had the same class for the container division. So we have to make some changes in the class name. So we'll just change the header wrapper class to header wrapper new, and let's go to the CSS and update that. So we'll change wherever we have header wrapper in the hero section to header wrapper new. Do that over here, and let's see where else we have. Here we have it, header wrapper new. Alright, that's it. So let's save it and let's refresh our page. And now we can see we have 100% width for our hero section, and we can even search for something. Let's try it, and we have the search result over here. So that's basically how you add our responsive hero section to our custom theme that we created from scratch. I'll also show you the mobile version. So this is how the mobile version looks. You can replace these menu items with the menu items of the previous navigation menu we had, and update all the links. Alright, so that's it for this video. We have created a responsive hero section from scratch and added it to two different Blogger themes. I hope you found this video useful. Now you can go ahead and use your creativity and try tweaking this design by adding, removing or editing the elements in the hero section, and try to add it to your Blogger website. I hope you'll be able to learn a lot from this, and I'll also leave the link of the source code in the description of this video. So if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.